Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Ratna, for the kind introductions. And thank you, sir, for joining us today amidst your busy schedule. Let's jump right back to when you started, when you set up Bharat Biotech in Hyderabad. You chose one of the most remote locations. There was no playbook, there was no ecosystem. He just went ahead and put the foundation stone for his setup. And now, 30 years later, that region has evolved into Genome Valley. Will you tell us how you have seen the evolution and what role you have played in it?
I think let me just, thank you for the Hurun, Anas, and Vishal and Madhu. Thank you. I'm waiting for the free dinner. Just kidding. So I think I'm passionate about India. That's why I coined the company name also Bharat Biotech. And by the way, Niran Shah should know that one or two venture capital rejected me because I put a Bharat Biotech name. Bharat. It's too traditional, too old, too Indian, and too government-oriented and all that, rejected. But it doesn't matter. Each one has got philosophies. And I just want India to be innovative, and I want a cluster like a Silicon Valley or, most of the US is built on the knowledge sector, along with universities, big cluster of the knowledge sectors have come up. I want to create, I met 1994, Honorable Prime Minister, former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao in New York UN Assembly. I went and told him biotech policy, biotech infrastructure and all that. He listened to me after 30 minutes of lecture. He summarized it in 2 words. You want policy, which I can't do it, with the Department of Biotechnology will do. Second, you want land. The central government doesn't give land, so you go to states. After 30 minutes of talk, everything in 2 lines, finished. I think it was a very amazing Prime Minister in a way to summarize it in last words. But I think the most important is that then of course, I was advisor to 99 to Chandrababu Naidu, then former Chief Minister, and I proposed to the Assembly. Then I created a Genome Valley, but Bharat Biotech became an anchor industry. So I think the important in the past to make a success of any park, you need an anchor industry. So that is what I created, a Bharat Biotech anchor industry. And I think, today the Genome Valley contributes more than the financial district or service sector of Hyderabad now.
Big round of applause for that.
It took 30 years to create that story after that.
When I was having a conversation with one of your colleagues, she said there were more snakes than neighbors when we started.
We had a moth, a cobra, and all this thing. Of course, the problem of the urbanization is we are going into forest, and that is leading all the problems.
Yes, but we can always plant more trees.
Sure.
Yeah. And looks like you're taking a similar bet in the east now. What is drawing you to Odisha?
No, I looked at very simple. I said India has to be a developed nation. Innovation is important. Knowledge has to spread the entire country. Look at the biotechnology. Most of them are located in south and western part of India. Not much, nothing, zero. The entire east. You look at biotech from after Hyderabad, there's nothing up to Nagaland. Nothing is there, entire country. I think, is there a government should do it? Yes, government should do it. But whoever government does, no private company will come. Somebody has to take a risk. Somebody has to move. Someone has to move. I said, let's spread. I also look at strategically, if a political unrest comes in Hyderabad or an earthquake comes, everything destroyed the company, vaccine is a national security. It's more of a children's immunization, all that national security. We need to be in a different location. And then the knowledge has to go to eastern part of India. And Calcutta would have been ideal. But then Calcutta is big trouble. So I said, okay, let's choose the Orissa. And I will choose the Orissa. Today we've set up a Orissa Biotech Park. And then we have an anchor industry, Bharat Biotech subsidiary. We put a Sapigen Biologics, which is a 1,500 crores investment, and ready, operationalized. And so we've created a biotech policies in the government. And I think probably if you say the Orissa biotech policies are better than even Gujarat policy. And I think probably the best policy in the country, we created that. I think the new generation, I want the new generation entrepreneurs to take the benefit of that so that slowly the industries will move to the eastern part of India. I think the only state which has got excess cash in the balance sheet is Orissa. So all other states are bankrupt actually. Yeah, maybe UP next may be a little bit better. So I think all other states are a little bankrupt. I want to see that the knowledge goes to other part of the states.
This is called larger than life vision, right? You just take it to another state.
No, what Hiranandani said, I'm just small guy in that, but what a value he said, how the value is created. I mean, his amazing speech, I've heard, phenomenal. I was so lucky to hear to his speech.
And you said you're investing around 1,500 crores without any expectations of immediate returns.
Thanks like Naren Shah and Puneet Chadda is not there with me. So otherwise, I would not have created. I'm kidding. I'm pulling your legs. Don't worry about it.
No, but
somebody has to laugh here. Okay? Everybody is serious here. You put a bar lights here. It looks like a bar right now. So I think, I had to create the future. It's very important. One is a state. Second is I created 1,500 crores, but no return. But next year, this year it starts. Revenue will come, and slowly we'll build on. And everything will start from the small and then build. But most important, the vaccine field, the important aspect of it, please, I want all the people to understand vaccine field is the most complex, highly regimented, highly regulated product in the world because it's going to healthy baby, newborn baby. So you need to be paranoid on the quality aspect of it, and that's very important, number one. Number two, look at US. There are only two major vaccine companies. One is Pfizer and Merck. And Moderna came just because of the pandemic. Otherwise, would not have been existing. Today, you see the financial situation of Moderna also now. And I think that you come to Europe, again, two vaccine companies, Sanofi and GSK. So Korea, maybe 3 companies. China, maybe 7. India, maybe 4. Like that. But so the barriers are very high. And you have to look at long term. And that's why most of the vaccine companies are, I always say, I create a business for my grandchildren to enjoy. So the pharma and biotech you can enjoy and your son can enjoy, but not the vaccine field. So that we created the platform for Bharat Biotech, and we acquired GSK vaccine plant in Chiron Bearing in Ankleshwar. Now we extended Sapage in Bhubaneswar. So I think looking at the long term, how this can create for the future for the country.
Now that you have brought in the private equity guys in the equation, what is your relationship with external capital?
No, I have a good relation. IFC invested, and ICICI Venture is invested, and then Subacom, the private family-owned company from Bombay, invested, which Subacom bought the IDBI equity was there, IDBI equity they purchased, but all of them, they invested 12 crores, they made 600 crores.
Wow.
So nothing less, in spite of that, in more than, I think, 15 years. So I'm glad they made money also because, but they were there with me. They didn't want to leave, but I have to request them to leave. So literally. So I think it's an important journey. But they brought a lot of corporate governance for me. They helped me a lot of things. And particularly to bring the corporate governance because private entrepreneurs are very ad hoc. They're not very streamlined people. So everybody believes in something and run. But I think the private equity brought some corporate governance, much more stringent and more transparent.
So the hosts were treated well, I can say the host was treated well.
My journey was very good. There's nothing wrong in it.
You're foraying into areas like cell and gene therapy. We would love to know more about it.
No, I think my son came from US. He wanted to start cell gene therapy on one condition. Most of the cell gene therapy in US is mostly insurance based. But in India, no insurance. So it's only rich people can offer. But maybe in this room, many of the people can offer cell gene therapy. But they look at the middle class people, okay, who are, most of the bankruptcy happens in middle class, who only health and education and marriages, only 3 things. I think we need to see that technology. Everybody wants to have an aspiration of having an Apple phone, mobile. So now see that it reaches to bigger. Smartphones, many people reach. And I want to see that cell gene therapy can touch the middle class. How do I bring the cost down? I think the aspect is the cell gene therapy, both you work with cells and you work with virus, both. And we work both in the vaccine company. So how do I subsidize that to program in intelligently? So we invested about $75 million with internal accrual on the new facility. We created a 50,000 square foot clean room facility, which can take care of probably 10,000 patients in a year on cell gene therapy. And we are partnering with US and partnering with China company. China is far ahead in cell therapy than even Americans. So even US is nowhere compared to the Chinese on cell therapy. And I think there are a lot of things learned from others. So we want to bring something which is affordable to the middle class, and that's very important for the country.
How soon can we look at that?
How soon? I think you have to ask my son, and you have to put a pressure on him,
not on me. Watch out for the news.
Because I still do not understand much that subject, so he understands better. He's a clinical guy. So.
And right outside this room, we were discussing about what percentage of your workforce constitutes women. I would love for the room to know about it.
No, 36% of women workforce is a woman in my company. Because many pharma company doesn't like to hire a woman. Because, but woman is also a danger to have more also, because they marry in Andhra, they marry yesterday, today in the airport, and they say, sir, we resigned, sir, I'm leaving to US. I married yesterday. So that's, men is less actually, you can at least. But I think the most important, if you want to bring a good data integrity in a company and certain discipline and controls in the organization, woman is one of the best I've found. It is not that I'm telling because of my wife is also there. So I'm telling you, my SAP is in Bhubaneswar, probably the most digitalized plant probably in the country. No one has got that type of plant in what we have in Bhubaneswar. And that plant, one plant is totally automated line. It's run by women, all women. From washing area to formulation, filling, everything is women. From ITA to BTech. So we made all of them as women, one facility. I think they're running better than men actually. So men, the problem in Hyderabad, men is very problem. You give one scotch bottle, they'll ship the job tomorrow.
Like you rightly said, sir, with 50% of the population being women, we are not going to get anywhere without involving them in businesses. Thank you so much for your time and for the wonderful conversation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.